The Roy S. Wood Alternative School in Joplin is seeking items and resources for students in need. I'm Kate Kelly with How You Can Help, coming up.
A federal judge rules in an Oklahoma lawsuit over vaccine mandates for the state's National Guard. And rising COVID cases set records heading into the new year.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Dow Quick. Students of the Roy S. Wood Alternative School in Joplin are in need of some extra supplies, but this goes beyond typical things like pencils and paper. KOAM's Kate Kelly shines a light on the struggles one teen faces.
Gabe Dutton is 18, but his experiences make him feel much older.
So I've been on my own since 8th grade. I've been living with like a friend, couch bumming, something like that. And then after 8th grade, I had actually been in a DYS system, so the juvenile system.
Gabe says he was fighting with his adoptive parents a lot before they kicked him out of the house. His grades began to slip and he fell behind, but he really wanted to get things turned around, and that's how he got involved with the Roy S. Wood campus and their staff.
The goal is to make it a community that they feel like this is their home. When everything else is spinning around them, they have somewhere that comes that's very consistent, that's very much, this is where people are, where they love to be.
You can tell they care on a deeper level than just their job.
Economic Security partners with the alternative school to do case management with at-risk youth and their families, pairing them with resources and supplies, things like food and clothing, a place to do laundry and take showers. Foster helps them get jobs and find housing. That makes a big difference for teens like Gabe.
Them being able to act as a strong support system for people who don't have that, that's really good.
Needs here fluctuate on a daily basis, but there are some items that are normally always in short supply.
We always need hygiene products, especially female hygiene products, shampoos, conditioners. I try to keep the minis on hand. That's just something I always have a hold of, but your full-size bottles, if I get a child or a family a house, I don't have the full-size bottles of hygiene products to give out to the community.
The needs are always there, but Foster does her best to meet them. As for Gabe, he's thankful for this school. It put him back on track to graduate as he works to support himself, get his own place, and pursue college.
I just want people to know, everybody who goes there, hasn't, necessarily just messed up in high school and been dumb. Some of those people actually have a hard home situation, something like that. They're actually struggling. Just give them a little bit of a break.
In Joplin, Kate Kelly, KOAM News.
Foster says bicycles are always a need for students as their transportation is often limited. If you'd like to help out with any of the needs at the Joplin Alternative School, check out this story on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, for contact information. The weather okay for a while, but changes coming down the road. Doug Hetty.
Yes, we're definitely going to have big changes by the time we head into the weekend. Now, the next couple days, not too bad. Today, we did get some on and off showers across the region. Temperatures, depending on where you lived, 40s, some areas near 60, but 50 and 37 were the official numbers for us today. We still have some clouds out there. I do think we're going to get some patchy fog building in during the overnight hours tonight. So that means if you're going to be on the roadways tonight into the morning hours, be careful just because visibilities will drop off a little bit more. This system out of here, next system rotating in, that's the one that will start to affect us by the time we head into the weekend. Temperatures kind of cold, mid 30s to mid 40s. In our southern counties. We're pretty close to our overnight low. Of course, we're going to break down the weekend system for you here in just a bit.
See you then. A judge sentences the suspect in a Junction shooting death. Jeremiah Tyner entered a plea agreement to involuntary manslaughter for the June 2020 shooting death of Amanda Parker. The judge gave Tyner a deferred sentence of 7 years in prison, but Tyner is permitted to opt for a 120-day shock treatment instead. Authorities say Tyner was cleaning a handgun in a mobile home with Parker. Tyner then reached for a rifle that discharged. The bullet struck and killed Parker. On Monday, we told you about plans for Lincoln Heights, a proposed tiny community in Joplin for homeless people. Well, today, some members of the community went to help clean up that proposed site, the old botany shop on East 7th Street. Volunteers today picked up trash in that area.
It's been deteriorating for a few years. There's a lot of trash. A lot of the buildings have trash in them. The grounds have trash scattered across them. So we're just inviting the community to come out and be part of it, because this is going to be a community effort when it's all said and done.
Now, there is some opposition to the Lincoln Heights plan. One person against it is Ted Johnson, the owner of the Flip Shop. The proposed housing for Lincoln Heights would be near his shop, and Ted is concerned about it not staying clean, possibly attracting criminals.
Well, my concern is that they're going to keep it clean over there and everything, and about if they're going to patrol like they're supposed to be patrolling everything and what's coming in and where they're going to build them at. We on the north side of the bridge here, and we'll make sure to keep it clean as possible. We see them come through, they leave trash, and paperwork everywhere, their clothes everywhere and stuff, and I'm concerned about that.
The group behind the project has 6 months to access the land and show improvement. A Sarcoxie woman who was scammed by a person pretending to be world-renowned chef Gordon Ramsay is speaking out to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else. Now, we told you yesterday about Michelle Huffman. Michelle joined a Gordon Ramsay Facebook fan page and was messaged by someone she thought was the chef. After messaging for months, the imposter convinced Michelle to send $1,000 in Google Play and iTunes gift cards so they could buy a house together. Michelle says she's received a lot of negative comments for sharing her story, but wants it to be a lesson for others to be careful online.
It's just been really hard. And people have had a lot of negative things to say about me, and that's okay, because I knew that coming into this. But unless you have had it happen to you, you don't understand it.
Michelle says she did file complaints with the Better Business Bureau and the Missouri Attorney General about that scam. A federal judge in Oklahoma has ruled against the state in its lawsuit challenging vaccine mandates for members of the Oklahoma National Guard. The judge said the claims by Governor Kevin Stitt, Attorney General John O'Connor, and 16 anonymous Oklahoma National Guard members are without merit. Oklahoma's case is considered the first critical test of the military's authority to require National Guard troops to get the shot. Spokeswomen for both Stitt and O'Connor say they're still reviewing the judge's decision. The U.S. is experiencing a surge in new COVID cases, setting records heading into the start of 2022. Reporter Mark Meredith is in Washington with more on that and what the Biden administration says it's doing to combat the pandemic.
COVID cases are reaching a record high. The U.S. hitting a 7-day average of more than 282,000 new cases, blowing past the country's previous record of 252,000 daily cases reached nearly a year ago. The new peak comes as the Omicron variant sweeps across the world. Health officials calling the latest spike, quote, a winter surge.
The data that you're looking at is the data for the month of December.
This as the Biden administration works to defend the CDC's decision to shorten the recommended quarantine time from 10 days to 5 for those who've contracted COVID but become symptom-free.
What we know is the most transmission happens in those first 1 to 2 days before you have symptoms, and then 2 to 3 days after you have symptoms.
But critics say the timing couldn't be worse given the surge, while others argue the Biden administration should reconsider imposing vaccine mandates.
This hospital crunch that we're seeing right now is man-made. That is because of these mandates. That is because they didn't acknowledge natural immunity. And because of this, you're seeing staffing shortages.
Meantime, the president is now clarifying his position after he faced backlash for saying there is, quote, no federal solution to the pandemic. He's now tweeted his federal plan includes adding vaccination and booster capacities, hospital equipment, staff, and more. The FDA is cautioning that at-home antigen tests are not completely reliable when it comes to detecting Omicron, so health officials say the best thing people can do is wear masks for 5 days after quarantining, even after people are no longer showing symptoms. In Washington, Mark Meredith, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor another four-state hero. Edward Reeves served in the U.S. Navy from 1956 to 1959. His hometown, Pittsburgh, Kansas, and we are proud to salute Edward Reeves, tonight's four-state hero. Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later in sports, Lamar and McDonald County square off for a spot in the Neosho Holiday Classic Championship. We'll have highlights in sports.
Not a bad day for us today. We did get some showers in here late morning into the early afternoon, but in general, an okay day. But big changes heading toward the weekend. We got showers, thunderstorms developing on Friday night. As Arctic air works in, this switches over to freezing rain, sleet, and snow for a portion of the four-state area. Of course, you can always get my long-range forecast on my month-long blog. That is KOAMnewsnow.com. Looks okay right now. Nice live shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Let's go ahead, zoom in. Look at our highs today. It was cooler in our northern counties. We had a front kind of drape through the area. And then you jump well into the 50s in our southern counties, so it really just depends on where you live. Now most of us mid-30s. We're close to our overnight low as we'll actually start to warm up a bit over the next couple days. But look at that. That's Arctic air looming, sitting across North Dakota, just begging to come down here. And we're actually going to let it in by the time we head into the weekend. Outside right now, it looks good. 7th and range line, currently at 35. Humidity is high, almost 90%. That shows us we're going to see some patchy fog as we go through the overnight hours. So if you are going to be on the roadways, watch out for that, especially low-lying areas. Visibilities could drop just a bit. Have some clouds kind of skirting through. Our rain earlier today heading away from us. Let's go west. Here's our next storm system out across southern parts of California. A much stronger wave, which is going to head toward us by the time we head into the weekend. So let's break it down. Clouds tonight. We get the fog, kind of hover, mid-30s. It'll be in the upper 20s in our northern counties, so it will be a little bit cooler. Near 50 by noon. I think most of us upper 50s for highs, but we are going to have a lot of clouds all day long. 55 by noon, high temp right around 59. Southerly winds, they'll be light. Tomorrow night, clouds stick around. We only drop back to about 48 or so. And then on New Year's Eve, on Friday, we warm into the mid-60s, but it's Friday evening when everybody's getting ready to do stuff. Showers, thunderstorms develop. Here's 8:30 p.m. Let's go to midnight. So we're ringing in 2022, showers, thunderstorms, Arctic front dropping through. You can start to see some pink popping up by early Saturday morning. That's freezing rain and sleet, which will continue to develop as we go through Saturday morning. Look where it's located, mainly along and north of Interstate 44, and I do think it's going to be light, but still could cause some issues on the roadways. You can see mainly Joplin northward. Now, once you get north of our viewing area, it's mainly snow and accumulating snow. Northeastern Kansas, northwestern Missouri, they're going to get a lot of snow. 59 tomorrow, 65 on Friday. We're just going to put 20s on Saturday because we're going to be dropping into the 20s. Oh. And then down to 9 Saturday night. So what that does mean is because we have dropping temperatures, anything that does fall will get slick and stick.
That could mean slippery roads, dangerous driving conditions. Yep. Thanks, Doug. Coming up, the jury in the trial of longtime Jeffrey Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell hands down its verdict. Police in Arkansas last night arrested a Missouri boarding school doctor accused of several sex crimes against children. They caught 57-year-old David Smock in Harrison, Arkansas, not far from the Missouri border. He had been considered a fugitive for several days. Smock is the longtime physician at Agape Boarding School. The Christian school remains under scrutiny after 5 staffers were charged in September with assaulting students. Smock is charged in 2 Missouri counties with sodomy, child molestation, sexual misconduct involving a child, and enticement or attempted enticement of a child. Jurors hand down their verdict in the sex trafficking trial of Ghislaine Maxwell, the longtime associate of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Reporter Alexis McAdams is in New York with more.
Ghislaine Maxwell guilty of 5 of 6 federal charges. The British socialite convicted of helping lure teenage girls to be sexually abused by her former boyfriend Jeffrey Epstein. The verdict handed down Wednesday, 4 days after the socialite's 60th birthday, following a month-long trial in New York. Witnesses throughout detailing accounts of sexual exploitation involving girls as young as 14. In a video statement, U.S. Attorney Damian Williams weighing in on that verdict.
The road to justice has been far too long. But today, justice has been done.
Maxwell acquitted on a single charge of enticing a minor to travel across state lines to engage in an illegal sexual act. Before that verdict, the jury had asked for the transcripts of 14 of 33 witnesses. But jurors never heard from Maxwell herself. She declined to testify, saying, quote, "The government has not proved its case beyond a reasonable doubt, so there's no reason to testify." Her defense team, meanwhile, arguing that the 60-year-old was a scapegoat for Epstein's actions. As Maxwell left that courtroom, she glanced at her siblings in the front row.
We firmly believe in Ghislaine's innocence. Obviously, we are very disappointed with the verdict. We have already started working on the appeal, and we are confident that she will be vindicated.
Maxwell facing 65 years behind bars. No sentencing date has been set just yet. In New York, I'm Alexis McAdams, Fox News.
Still ahead, winter weather adding to flight disruptions.
America's travel nightmare, stretching into its 6th day on Wednesday. I'm David Lee Miller at New York's LaGuardia Airport. The details coming up.
If you've returned or you plan to return a holiday gift this year, you are not alone. Returns processor Optoro says 2 out of 3 shoppers are likely to return at least one present. In total, more than $120 billion worth of goods are expected to be returned now through the end of January. But all those returns are costing retailers. Optoro estimates stores will spend 59% more this year than last year on returned gifts. The increase in cost is likely due to supply chain issues, higher transportation costs, and discount losses. The latest home price index shows a big boost for people looking to sell their homes. According to the S&P CoreLogic Case-Shiller National Home Price Index, home prices saw double-digit growth in October. The index reports national home prices rose more than 19% between this year and last year. It's the 4th highest level since tracking began. The strongest growth was in the South and Southeast, but every region reported double-digit gains. Air travelers across the country and all around the world are suffering through a 1-2 punch of pandemic and winter weather, which has thousands of flights grounded. Reporter David Lee Miller has more from LaGuardia Airport in Queens, New York.
I have a job that I want to get back to, and so I'm really scared.
The CDC reduced quarantine time for COVID exposures from 10 to 5 days, but air travelers aren't feeling a significant impact yet. For the 6th straight day, there are hundreds of cancellations and thousands of delays across the country. Airlines blaming the mess on staffing shortages due to the Omicron variant, vaccine mandates, and major winter storms in the West.
It's also frustrating for the airlines because they've taken a lot of steps to get through the pandemic. They thought they were through the worst of it.
Long lines are now the norm at major airports, especially hubs. The staffing shortages leading to logistical issues with everything from connecting flights to luggage, and frustrated passengers say they're running out of patience.
It was a disaster. A lot of families, people are inconvenienced. I've been literally here at the airport since 9 p.m. I'm just ready to get home.
Especially hard hit by the weather, Alaska Airlines, which canceled more than 10% of its flights early on Wednesday, saying they need more time to de-ice their planes. United, JetBlue, and Delta also racking up early cancellations. And things could be getting even worse in the coming days, with millions more expected to travel after the new year.
COVID got us twice, and we couldn't come, but we just said we're coming. It's winter break from school, and we're coming.
The TSA says it screened about 2 million passengers a day, every day this week, about twice as many as during the same period last year. In New York, David Lee Miller, Fox News.
Up next, the happy ending behind this photo of Tulsa police officers holding puppies that were abandoned. On Christmas Day, someone left a zipped-up duffel bag on the counter of a Quick Trip store in Tulsa. In that bag were 5 puppies. So a worker at the store contacted the Tulsa Police Department. But the story has a happy ending. 4 of the officers who responded each adopted 1 puppy. A worker at the Quick Trip adopted the 5th puppy. A veterinary worker estimates the puppies were 5 weeks old. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. An area towing company is offering a free service Friday night to make sure everyone stays safe going into the new year.
President Biden wraps up his first year in office. I'm Mallory Rivera in Washington with a look back at that as well as other 2021 political highlights coming up.
2021 is coming to a close Friday night. Millions of people ring in the new year every year by celebrating with some adult beverages, which can lead to some dangerous driving. Add in the potential for winter weather and you have a disaster potentially waiting to happen. To help lower that risk, Metro Towing is offering rides home free of charge. The company says it'll offer the rides around Neosho, Joplin, and Springfield to make sure everyone has a safe and happy start to 2022.
Free towing from 15-mile radius in Neosho, Joplin, and Springfield to help anybody out so this way they don't come across an unfortunate event.
The company says they've already seen an increase in calls compared to last year. School is starting up again for many area students next week, but some kids are getting in some last-minute winter break fun. Crossroads Baptist Church in Girard is hosting a winter vacation Bible school. The event features activities like games, skits, Bible lessons, and arts and crafts.
Well, we're having our first ever winter vacation Bible school. We always have one in the summer, but we thought, we're competing with all the other churches in the area when we have one in the summer, and no one does a winter one. So why not? The kids are on break and bored after Christmas, and give them something fun to do.
The camp continues tomorrow from 1 p.m. to 3. Integris Health is sharing this sneak peek with us of what their float will look like in the coming Rose Parade. It's titled, "Home is Where the Hospital Is." They say the knight confronting a dragon represents the, quote, Herculean obstacles that had to be overcome to safely hospitalize patients in their homes. Integris touts itself as the largest health system in Oklahoma and operates facilities all around the state. Those include the hospital in Miami. Stem cell scientists in Los Angeles have found the origins of a common ovarian cancer. They used cells from women who had the disease to model tissue and discovered ovarian cancer often begins with cancerous lesions in the fallopian tube linings. The findings could help doctors determine which women are most likely to develop ovarian cancer in the future. 2021 marked another year of highs and lows. But for Republicans and Democrats, their wins and losses seemed to teeter-totter from one to the other. The same was true for President Biden, who went through his own highs and lows during his first year in the Oval Office. Reporter Madeline Rivera has a look back.
We fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
2021 kicked off, tensions at a boiling point, a second year of COVID disruptions amid 2020 election dissension. January 6, marred by the deadly U.S. Capitol attack. Rioters temporarily halting Congress's election certification process.
Today was a dark day in the history of the United States Capitol.
Still, the new year ushered in a new president.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear.
Kamala Harris became the first female vice president and the first woman of color.
It really is the culmination of so much hope.
Democrats added to their big 2020 wins, seizing control of both chambers of Congress.
It is with humility that I thank the people of Georgia.
But big wins came with big challenges. Another impeachment trial for former President Trump.
He watched it on TV like a reality show. He reveled in it. And he did nothing to help us.
And admitted mistakes amid Texas' widespread ice storm.
I certainly regret that this has become a distraction.
Plus, New York's governor under fire.
I'm not going to resign.
Some relief came in March. The $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan, delivering $1,400 stimulus checks to many Americans.
The economy is roaring in large part because of the stimulus.
On the border, an influx of migrants. The vice president tasked with addressing root causes.
This is one of our highest priorities.
While in Geneva, President Biden met with his Russian counterpart.
Why are you so confident he'll change his behavior?
Yeah, I'm not confident he'll change behavior. What do you do all the time?
But by August,
the war in Afghanistan is now over.
The Biden administration's foreign policy agenda was overshadowed by the chaotic and deadly U.S. troop withdrawal from Afghanistan.
There was nothing
that I or anyone else saw that indicated a collapse of this Army and this government in 11 days.
A political pause marking the 20th anniversary of 9/11, followed by the loss of former Secretary of State Colin Powell, and later former Senate Majority Leader Bob Dole. Despite being an off year for elections in November, voters delivered a gubernatorial win in Virginia for Republicans.
Any swing state senator is probably saying, am I going to keep going along with a crazy agenda out of the White House, or do I want to get reelected?
Still, Democrats countered with wins of their own. California's Democratic governor surviving an election recall, and Congress passed the president's bipartisan infrastructure bill, investing $1 trillion in roads, electricity, and broadband.
America's moving again, and your life is going to change for the better.
But as the White House worked to move backlog cargo and move prices lower, Congress failed to move on the president's Build Back Better agenda. Moderate Democratic Senator Joe Manchin saying he's a no vote, just days ahead of Christmas.
If I can't go home and explain it to the people of West Virginia, I can't vote for it.
2022 shows no signs of slowing down. The Senate Majority Leader says the Build Back Better bill will get a vote on the Senate floor, and Congress still needs to pass a final spending bill by mid-February to avoid a government shutdown. In Washington, Mallory Rivera, Fox News.
A bit later, fewer Americans are identifying as religious.
The number of people believing in God is down. I'm Marianne Rafferty with more on that story, plus why some churches here in the States are outsourcing priests from foreign countries. Coming up.
It turned out to be a decent Wednesday for us today. We had some showers in here late morning into the early afternoon, and now we get a little bit of a break before our next storm system starts to roll in. This is going to be Friday evening, so of course, when everybody's getting out and about or whatever you're doing with this wonderful COVID pandemic, but rain, showers, thunderstorms, and then as colder air, Arctic air, our first Arctic blast of the season, we get some freezing rain and sleet, even some snow mixing in. Of course, you can always get my long-range forecast on my month-long blog, KOAMnewsnow.com. Looks okay, nice shot. This is Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, zooming in, depending on where you live today, would really tell you the temperatures. Anywhere from 30s in our northern counties and then near 60 in our southern counties. Everybody else kind of sandwiched in the middle as we have the clouds and the showers. And we're pretty much all sitting mid to upper 30s to lower 40s. I think most of us will back down into the mid 30s later on tonight. But look at the Arctic air looming, just waiting to let loose across Canada, northern parts of the lower 48, and of course that's going to sink in as we head into the weekend. 7th and range line looks pretty good. Got all the rain out of here. We do have the clouds. We are going to get some patchy fog tonight, so watch out for that. This system out of here, next system working in, and this is going to be Friday evening and then heading right on into Saturday. Tonight's okay. We are going to have some patchy fog, so watch out for that. And the low-lying areas, of course, that can drop your visibility just a bit. We sit into the mid-30s. It is going to be into the upper 20s in our northern counties, and then hanging on near 40 in our southern counties. A lot of clouds for us tomorrow. We warm upper 50s for high, so it is going to be warmer. Clouds stick around for us tomorrow night. The winds start to pick up. As we go into Friday, we're going to warm into the mid-60s. So kind of similar to what we had on Christmas Eve, warming up, and then we're going to slam right back down. But it's Friday evening. Showers, thunderstorms start to develop, especially in our southern counties. Periods of showers, even thunderstorms, as we go through the overnight hours. Here's the midnight hour. I don't think we're going to have any issues on the roadways besides they're going to be wet at midnight. But after midnight, our northern counties will start getting some freezing rain. This is showing us in the pink. That freezing rain starts to work a little bit farther south and east. So by morning, it will be all the way down to the I-44 corridor, and we'll have light freezing rain as we go through the morning hours, and then just rain if you live south of Interstate 44, and then everybody should switch over to a little bit of freezing rain and sleet as we go into the afternoon. We could get some accumulations, especially north of Interstate 44, maybe a quarter, maybe half an inch of ice, so we do need to watch out for that. 59 tomorrow, 65 Friday. We drop into the 20s Saturday, and especially with a very thick snowpack to our north, single digits Saturday night. So, well, I mean, big swing.
Yeah, and the prospect of ice, that's the worst part.
Yeah, not fun.
No, not indeed. Thanks. Coming up in sports, it's semifinal night at the Neosho Holiday Classic, plus the Pitt State women host Tabor in their final non-conference game of the season. Jacob Leonard joins us with that and more next.
The Pittsburgh State women's basketball team returns to the floor this afternoon after the holiday break. Now, the Gorillas host the Tabor College Blue Jays today in their final non-conference game of the season. And coming out of the break, Pitt State is 8-3, including 4-2 in the MIAA. Early on, Erin Davis creates her own shot there. She gets 6 points in the first half. Then Jenna Shipley. Check out the footwork here. Shipley scores. Then on the break, Shipley scoops it off to Corinna Gerber. Gerber, 10 points, 10 boards. Her first career double-double. Gorillas up 11 at halftime. In the second half, Sydney Crane. Nice no-look pass to Davis. Crane steps out moments later, hits the three. 10 points tonight for Sydney Crane. Sticking around in the third, Jamie Jackson. Driving and the foul. She goes for 11 points and 4 assists. Emma Martin scored the final 5 points of the third. 3-ball here. She gets 8. Gorillas get 5 in double figures. They roll tonight 86-53.
I feel like we were a little rusty the first half, but we really found ourselves the second half, and we started to get into a flow, and that's what this game's for and what we needed. So I was hoping to see everybody get on the floor and get back into game mode because we've had that week off for Christmas, and I think we accomplished that pretty well.
Well, tonight is semifinal night at the Neosho Holiday Classic. In the boys' black bracket, Neosho, Lamar, and McDonald County are all still alive on the championship side. First up, Lamar and McDonald County square off with the winner, advancing to the championship game tomorrow night. First play of the game, Cross Dowd knocks down the corner three for the Mustangs. A couple plays later on the other end, Mason Gastel answers with a three of his own. And Connor Schaff knocks one down as well, gives Lamar the lead. Schaff finishes this one with 14. Still in the first, Teddy Reedy Bacon with a two-handed flush there from McDonald County. And in the second half, Schaff another three cuts McDonald County's lead to 10, but the Mustangs would keep rolling. Reedy Bacon goes up through the contact and one. He gets a double-double. Mustangs win it in the end 65-53 to advance to the championship game tomorrow night. Other semifinal now, tournament host Neosho faces Huntsville for a spot in the title game. First quarter, Carter Finsky knocks down the corner three. Then next play, hits the deep three. Check it out, he's pumped up. He gets 11 tonight. Later in the half, Caden Waters drives, tough finish. He gets a game-high 21 points. Huntsville, though, good early. Mason Davidson rattles at home. Neosho down 1 at half, down 6 going to the fourth. But wait, Brock Franklin hits the three in the corner in the fourth. Then another pull-up jumper. Neosho, listen to this, outscores Huntsville 24-0 in the fourth. Wildcats earn a spot in the championship 62-44. In the girls bracket, just one local team on the championship side, that is Neosho. They face North Kansas City in the semifinals tonight. The Hornets win that one 39-17. So Neosho will play for third place tomorrow afternoon. Tonight is the final night of the football season for the Oklahoma Sooners. The Sooners face Oregon in the Alamo Bowl in a top 20 matchup. And that game actually still going. Oklahoma up by 20 with about 4 minutes to halftime. Caleb Williams has thrown for 2 touchdowns. Kennedy Brooks has 82 yards and a touchdown on the ground. And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
A new study is shining light on the religious decline taking place in the U.S. Reporter Marianne Rafferty has more on that, plus why members of the Catholic faith are recruiting priests from Africa to serve in America.
A recent study from the Pew Research Center finds Americans are becoming less religious, with 30% of all U.S. adults now identifying as either atheist or agnostics. But getting more people into pews isn't the only problem. According to the Associated Press, the Catholic Church is seeing a decline in the number of people becoming spiritual leaders.
We are experiencing a shortage of priests currently.
And the issue is causing some dioceses to outsource priests, recruiting ones from countries in Africa to preach here in the States instead.
They have been an enormous help to us.
But the transition can come with a little shell shock for these international priests.
I see myself in this rural country. It was like, where am I? What am I doing?
Still, many say the love people have for their God is what inspires them to stay.
Initially, I did not feel like I want to, be here. But when I look at the faith of the people, to be honest with you, I say I want to serve.
As for the parishioners, many are enjoying the different perspectives being brought to their services from these priests abroad.
He brings a lot of his culture in explaining the scripture. So Father kind of ties everything in to how he grew up and then maybe how things are different here.
The Pew Research study also found among the different types of Christians, Protestants saw the largest rate of decline. Still, more Americans consider themselves religious than not. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
Coming up, a new trailer for the upcoming Batman movie, and Betty White celebrates 100 in style. From Betty White to Batman and a virtual party by Paris. Reporter Ashley Dvorkin takes a look in today's Hollywood Nation.
Paris goes virtual, buzz grows for Batman, and a big happy birthday to Betty in the Hollywood Nation.
Oh, it takes a big woman to forgive somebody calling her a slut.
From a movie to a magazine cover, Betty White is celebrating her 100th birthday in style. People magazine's new cover story about the Golden Girls star features toasts from famous friends and White sharing secrets to a long, happy life, saying she feels lucky to be in such good health and jokes she tries to avoid anything green. White turns 100 on January 17th. A one-day-only film event will also mark the date, with Fathom Events screening Betty White 100 Years Young, a birthday celebration in 900 theaters.
Bruce Wayne.
Fans get a special look at the Batman with The Bat and the Cat trailer, starring Robert Pattinson as the Caped Crusader and Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. The highly anticipated 2022 action flick is in theaters March 4th. And Paris Hilton is inviting guests to the metaverse for her next endeavor. The reality TV star will play an electronic set New Year's Eve on her Roblox virtual island, Paris World. There, visitors can also explore replicas of her Beverly Hills estate, a boardwalk inspired by her wedding, and purchase virtual clothing and rides on jet skis, having the option to do so all via luxury sports car or yacht. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of beavers enjoying the snow at the Oregon Zoo. Let's make it a great tomorrow.